The loudest person in the room is performing. They are making a bid for status, and you are the audience they need to convince. This entire performance is designed to trigger one of two responses in you: fight or flight, escalate or submit. By the end of this, you'll understand the third option, the one that operates on a completely different axis. And this matters because every single day, in meetings, at family dinners, and in casual conversations, this invisible game is being played, and your response is shaping how the world sees and treats you. You felt it. That moment in a conversation when someone leans in just a little too far, holds eye contact a second too long, or raises their voice by a fraction. It's a physical sensation, a tightening in the chest. Your brain registers it as a challenge before your conscious mind can even label it. This is the language of social dominance, a primal script that runs underneath all human interaction. It's the constant, low-level negotiation for position, for respect, for whose opinion gets weighted more heavily. Most of these moves are so subtle they're deniable. A casual interruption framed as excitement, a backhanded compliment disguised as a joke, a question that's actually a test. These are probes sent out to see who will flinch, who will yield space, and who will cede the conversational ground. The standard advice tells you to puff up your chest, speak louder, and be more assertive. This is escalation. It's an invitation to a power struggle, a game the aggressor is often better prepared to win. The other option is to shrink, to laugh it off, look away, and let it slide. This is submission. It buys peace in the moment, at the cost of your position over time. Each time you submit, you teach the other person, and everyone watching, that your boundaries are porous, that your space is available for the taking. But there is a third path. It begins with understanding what the challenger is actually looking for. They are seeking a reaction. Any reaction. Anger confirms their threat was potent. Fear confirms their dominance. Getting a reaction is the entire point of the move. It validates their bid for higher status. So what happens when you offer them nothing? This is the first and most fundamental technique, strategic indifference. Imagine someone makes a slightly belittling joke at your expense in a group setting. The air gets quiet for a second. Everyone looks to you. They are waiting for the script to play out. You could snap back with a better insult. That's escalation. You could force a laugh and look down. That's submission. The third option is to offer a calm, neutral, slightly blank look for one full second. Then, you turn to someone else and continue the previous conversation as if the comment was never made, as if it were a strange, irrelevant noise. This maneuver is powerful because it denies the aggressor the one thing they need: emotional fuel. Your non-reaction communicates several things simultaneously. It says, "Your attempt to get a rise out of me failed." It says, "Your comment was so insignificant it doesn't even warrant a response." And most importantly, it says, "I am in complete control of my own emotional state." You are behaving like a tall building in a light wind. The wind is there, you can feel it, but it lacks the force to make you sway. This takes practice. Your body will want to react. Your heart rate might climb. The key is to separate the internal feeling from the external expression. Let the adrenaline spike internally, but keep your face, your posture, and your voice completely level. This selective inaction is a move in itself, a powerful one. It reframes their attack as a clumsy failure, but this strategy of ignoring the bid works best for verbal jabs and subtle digs. What happens when the challenge becomes physical? When someone starts to literally take your space? Consider the meeting room table. It's a classic arena for status games. Someone might spread their papers into your area. They might place their coffee mug right on the edge of your personal bubble, or they might lean far over the table when speaking, physically dominating the shared space. These are encroachment plays. Again, the instinct is to either physically shove their things back, a clear escalation, or to pull yourself inward, to shrink and accommodate them, which is submission. The third option is calibrated movement. The goal is to reclaim your space with quiet, deliberate economy of motion. Someone's papers are creeping into your zone. You don't shove them. You gently pick up your own notepad, and as you set it back down, you use its edge to neatly square their papers back into their area, all while maintaining eye contact with whoever is speaking. It's a background process. It's housekeeping. Someone leans aggressively into your space while making a point. You don't lean back, which cedes territory. You don't lean forward, which escalates. You hold your ground. You can even create a small, stable barrier by bringing your hands together on the table in front of you. A simple, steeple-like gesture. These actions are subtle, almost invisible to the casual observer, but the person making the play receives the signal loud and clear. This space is occupied. My boundary is firm. You're doing this without making a scene. You're simply behaving as a person who is comfortable and entitled to their space would naturally behave. You are correcting a small environmental anomaly, like brushing a piece of lint off your sleeve. The less energy you expend, the more powerful the signal. Your calmness becomes the dominant feature of the interaction. You're showing that their attempt to physically pressure you is a minor nuisance, one that can be handled without breaking your flow. This communicates immense security, but physical space is only one battlefield. The most frequent and frustrating dominance plays happen in the flow of conversational dominance. The interruption is the most common form of conversational dominance. It's a direct challenge to your right to hold the floor. When someone talks over you, they are implicitly saying, "What I have to say is more important than what you are saying." They are hijacking the conversational turn. The typical responses are to either stop talking and let them take over, a clear act of submission, or to raise your voice and try to talk over them, a noisy and often ugly escalation. The third path is called the loop and close. It works like this. The moment the person begins to interrupt, you stop talking. You let them say a few words, and you hold direct, steady, and neutral eye contact. You don't glare, you don't look away, you just watch them calmly. This sudden silence and direct gaze is often enough to make them falter. They expect you to either fight or fold. This quiet attention is neither. The moment they finish their sentence or pause to take a breath, you immediately begin speaking again. And here is the critical part. You resume your original sentence from the exact word you were cut off on. You create a seamless loop. For example, you are saying, "So the key factor we need to consider for the fourth quarter is," and they interrupt. You stop. You hold eye contact. They finish. Then you immediately continue. The fourth quarter is the supply chain bottleneck. You don't say, "As I was saying." You don't say, "If you'll let me finish." Those are defensive. They acknowledge the interruption as legitimate. By simply continuing your sentence, you frame their entire interruption as meaningless noise. A brief pause. You are communicating that their bid to take the floor was unsuccessful. It didn't register. You are still holding the talking stick. This technique is devastatingly effective because it asserts your status without a single aggressive word. It's pure behavioral frame control. You are demonstrating through action that you decide when you are finished speaking. This level of control is rare, and it communicates more power than shouting ever could. But all of these techniques are at their core reactive. They are sophisticated defenses against moves made by others. So how do you change the game so that people stop trying to make these moves on you in the first place? The ultimate strategy is to change your own internal model of social hierarchy. Most people operate from a frame of seeking status and approval. They are constantly scanning, consciously or not, for who is up and who is down. They are worried about how they are perceived. Dominance plays work so well because they tap directly into this insecurity. The fear of being lowered on the social ladder is a powerful motivator. The reframe is to stop seeking status and instead start granting it. Imagine a person who is so fundamentally secure in their own value that they don't need validation from anyone in the room. Their sense of self-worth is internally generated. This person isn't looking up the ladder to see who is above them. They are looking around to see what they can offer to others. This is the mindset of the host, the leader, the king. A secure king doesn't need to constantly prove he is the king. His power is self-evident. He can afford to be generous, to be calm, to be gracious. When someone makes a clumsy dominance play toward him, he doesn't see it as a threat. He sees it as a bid for his attention and approval. That aggressive question in the meeting, that person is trying to look smart in front of you. That interrupting colleague, they are desperate for you to see them as important. Their posturing is a sign of their own insecurity. It's a plea for validation. When you adopt this frame, your response to their plays changes entirely. You no longer feel threatened. You might even feel a sense of compassion. That person puffing up their chest isn't a predator. They're a nervous applicant, interviewing for your respect. And you, as the grantor of status, can choose how to respond. You can give them a small nod of validation. You can answer their aggressive question with a calm, thoughtful response that acknowledges the kernel of a good idea within it. That's a sharp question. It gets at the core issue, which is, you are giving them the respect they are so desperately and clumsily trying to take from you. This is the paradox of status. By giving it away freely, you demonstrate that you have an abundance of it. You show that you are the source. This is the highest level of the game. You are no longer playing defense. You are setting the emotional tone for the entire room. Your composure becomes a gravitational force that pulls everyone else into a more secure, more productive orbit. This is a profound shift. It moves you from being a pawn in other people's status games to being the architect of your own. When you stop needing everyone to like you, you ironically become far more likable. When you stop trying to win every little battle, you find yourself holding a much stronger strategic position. You are no longer reacting to the board, you are the one who sees the entire board. You start to see these dominance plays everywhere, even in yourself. You'll notice the times you interrupt someone out of anxiety, the times you use a slightly condescending tone to feel superior, and you'll see it for what it is, a sign of your own insecurity in that moment. A bid for status. This self-awareness is the final piece. The ability to manage your own status-seeking impulses is what allows you to respond to others with grace and strength. It's not about becoming a passive observer. It is about becoming an active, calming force. A person whose stability is so solid that others feel more stable just by being around them. The ultimate goal, then, is to transcend the game itself. The obsession with who is up and who is down is a trap. It consumes mental energy that could be spent on collaboration, on curiosity, on genuine connection. By mastering these techniques, you aren't just learning to handle difficult people, you are earning your freedom from the constant draining anxiety of the social hierarchy. You are opting out of the tournament. The real power isn't the ability to dominate others, it's the ability to make dominance displays irrelevant. And this same internal mechanism, this shift from seeking validation to generating your own, explains why praise can feel so hollow and why criticism can be so liberating, which is a different kind of uncomfortable.